I would like to tell you a story. The story of the New Zion in Kenya that happened almost 120 years ago. This is a true story, and there is so much more to it. In August 1903, Sir Joseph Chamberlain of the British Colonial Office offered a large piece of land about half the size of today's Israel to resettle there up to 1 million East European Jews who suffered riots and bloodshed, especially in Russia and the Ukraine. He didn't do it because his liking of the Jewish people. The construction of the Uganda Railway was criticized in London for its cost. And in 1902, there was not much use for the train, going almost empty from Mombasa to Lake Victoria and back. In short, the Lunatic Express, so it was called, seemed at that time as a very bad investment. Million hard-working Jews, so Sir Chamberlain thought, will make the train profitable. This proposal, mistakenly called the Uganda Plan, was presented to Dr. Theodor Herzl, the founding father of modern Zionism. To Herzl's disappointment, the proposal had divided the Jews and almost crushed the newly established Zionist movement. A year and a half later, after Herzl's death, on January 12, 1905, a commission of 3 men had arrived to Mombasa on a quest to survey the proposed region. It sounds like a beginning of a joke. A Christian, a Muslim, and a Jew arrived to East Africa. But it is not a joke. Major Gibbons of the Royal Army, a Christian, was the head of the expedition. Alfred Kaiser, the Swiss biologist who converted to Islam, and Nachum Willabush, a young Jewish engineer from Russia, joined him. They took the Uganda Railway to Nakuru, which today is one of the largest cities in Kenya. And on the 23rd of January 1905, with 40 porters and a Maasai guide, they toured by foot the Promised Land for 5 weeks. Upon their return to Europe, a report was published stating that the land that was offered was not suitable because of poor soil, lack of water, and harsh weather conditions. Willabush summed his report, "Where nothing exists, nothing can be done." The land that was offered by the British is the county of Uasin Gishu, a very fertile place in East Africa, which is considered to be the breadbasket of Kenya. David Matlow is one of the largest private collectors of Dr. Herzl's memorabilia, and he owns a rare original report of the expedition. In 1965, Professor Robert Weisbrod published a book called African Zion, the attempt to establish a Jewish colony in the East Africa Protectorate. 60 years later, his book is still considered to be the most comprehensive research of this affair. I asked the professor why the report was so inaccurate.
Before he was an engineer, whether that qualified him to make a judgment on the agricultural potential of the Uasin Gishu Plateau is for every person to make his own decision. I just don't know enough about it. It's a question, a mystery that I've never really been able to resolve.
After a few years of research, I decided to travel to Uasin Gishu and try to understand and maybe solve this mystery. I have in my possession some valuable stuff: the maps, the daily traveling ledger, the coordinates, and the book that was written by Willabush. I asked Cello, a geographer, to help me find the exact places they had traveled and camped.
Whatever I've sent you, so that you see. But the 5th one, I'm very sure about the February 5th. I'm sure about it.
So, on Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, at 4 a.m., I began my own quest, following the footsteps of the expedition, not by train and not by foot, but by a 4x4 safari jeep. I took with me my Maasai friend Corietta, Frank, the tour guide, and Mushi, the cameraman, and we traveled for a few days to Uasin Gishu. Every now and then, we could still see the old tracks that were laid down so many years ago. Today, they are not in use anymore, but nobody ever told that to the zebras that are still waiting for the train to come. We arrived in the afternoon to Eldoret, which is the principal city of Yusin Gishu.
600 meters, turn left.
From here on, we would use Charles' instruction that he installed on my cell phone.
200 meters, turn left.
From Willabush Report, February 3rd, 1905. For the first half of the way was modestly good grass, isolated trees and acacias. No traces of human habitation.
In 200 meters, turn right.
Camp on a swamp with hippos, storks, waterbacks, and antelopes.
Your destination is on the left.
Nice. Shallow instructions were precise.
Continue for 1.5 kilometers.
It seems that today is a bit more complicated than yesterday.
In 150 meters, make a U-turn.
But in this part of the world, you can always ask for help from a friendly neighbor. How far Mount Sergoi is from where we're standing now?
Sergoi is there.
Yeah, I know, but how many
Now at that
kilometers?
time, it was this time it is called Sergoi Hill. It is
Right.
not a mount.
Right,
So mountain.
right.
This is wrong.
But it stayed the same place. It didn't move, right?
Yeah.
120 years ago, it was
is
there,
there.
right?
You have arrived.
We stopped, and Frank told 3 nice locals about the expedition. They were amazed to learn about the British proposal, but they were truly astonished to hear about Willabush negative report. Water, no problem at all. You dig only 30 feet and there is plenty of it. Crops, almost everything grows here. Maize, wheat, vegetable, fruits, even oranges. 5 בפברואר, שהיה מיועד לפי התוכנית לחזור בו אל המחנה הראשי על יד הר סרגוי ולהיפגש עם הר קייזר. קמנו בבוקר השכם והלכנו 12 מייל מזרחה בכיוון לצפון הר סרגוי, כי לפי המפה נמצא שם נחל מים. גם המסאי שלי אישר כי מעיין נמצא בצפון ההר. כשהגענו אל המקום מצאנו את הנחל יבש, בלי מים לחלוטין. Willabush had a Maasai guide, and I have mine. My good friend Corietta, who like many of his tribe members, believes that they are one of the lost tribes of Israel. The Maasai people are one of the few tribes in East Africa that were able to preserve their unique traditional ways. Among other things, the olive tree is sacred for them, the white and blue colors are meaningful, and God, believe it or not, is called in their language Sinai.
Jeremiah 29:25. Again, we see the Maasai written in the Bible. Nji ejo olairoriani lolorani Enkai e Israel irriwayie yie mpala tenkarna ilo ino airriwaki iltung'anak pooki le Jerusalem o Zephaniah olayioni le Maasai.
I think that I'll be able to resolve the mystery that surrounded the Uganda plan. And besides the belief of the Maasai people, I intend to touch a few more subject matters that are integral part of our story. The construction of the railroad, the ways of the British colonial government, the arrival to Kenya of the white settlers who strongly opposed the proposal, and the arrival of the first Jews from South Africa who were waiting for the go-ahead. I will also expand on the Bishop of Mombasa, who was in favor of the proposal and the spread of Christianity in East Africa, the establishment of Nairobi, which was picked at that time as a storage place for the railroad, and the rebellion of the Nandi tribe against the British that lasted for 10 years, and a few of them attacked the expedition on their way back. And just a food for thought, what would have happened to the fate of the Jewish people, the state of Israel, and to Kenya if the British proposal was accepted and so many Jews came here more than a century ago?